Hey guys, what's cracking? Might give me a 5 for 5 and we'll get started. Need a 5 for 5 before I move on. I know I ain't done any kind of content for a few, but there's reasons for that, and I will get to those in just a second. Um, yeah, so hi to everybody in there. I am going to say hi to people tonight just for right here at the beginning because I haven't been here for so long. Thank you guys for showing up. I know I haven't put anything out for almost 2 weeks now, but I've had some stuff going on in my own life that I just simply, frankly, guys, I was in a funk. Okay, I mean it's just what it was, and I had good reason for that. Um, I found out some things about, well, again, I'm not going to make this about me. This is just, I had some stuff in my personal life that I thought was one way and it wasn't my whole life. And so I've been dealing with that. And I'm not going to get into any of that right now, but it did knock me for a loop here for a couple. But I just want to give you guys a little bit of a explanation on why. But thank you for being here, guys. Yeah, it's you're right, Stephanie. It really is. It's kind of a funk, and for people that don't know, I did struggle with a pill addiction, and I've been in recovery for over 12 years. I've never relapsed. And on that note, guys, get over to the lifeboat. You guys know, recovery channel. I ain't got to say no more. Mods, help me out there. Put a link in the chat for me if you would. They got a lot of stuff going on, drama over there right now too with some of the other collabs, and I'm not going to get into all that. But there's drama everywhere right now, so I would say that. And we're going to stay out of that here on this channel. We're not going to get into any drama amongst ourselves, amongst any of that. That's just not what we do, right? And there is times where we need to address it, and I do think that people are addressing it the proper way. So I will just leave it at that. You guys, get over there if you guys have issues with addiction. But yeah, I fought that for a long time. So well, it wasn't really a long time I didn't fight it because I got help fairly quickly because of my current support system, my wife and my family, right? But with that being said, there was something that I found out and some things about when, nothing to do with my current family. That's not what I'm saying. But there were some things that just knocked me for a loop, and I had to handle it in my own head, and I wasn't going to come out here and be negative. I've always told you guys, I'm not going to make a video just to make a video. Okay? I'm just not going to do that. The content sucks when people do that, and it's very obvious when people do that. And, and so we're going to have a good live stream here, and we're going to keep moving forward, and we're just going to do that, right? It's the holidays. We only got a certain amount of time left on this planet, and we're going to make the best of it. So, and one more shout out, guys. Get over to Marfugal. They'll probably go live here. I'm not sure if I didn't see anything posted yet. I'm a mod over on Marfugal TV and Marfugal News. Guys, please go over there and subscribe if you're not. I know most of you guys probably already are, but I'm going to say that because they supported my channel so much, and it wouldn't be nowhere near as big as what it is unless Adam and Dex and everybody there really, helped me out there. And one more shout out. Like I said, Tommy, Johnny, you guys all know Chase the Heat, and guys, get over and check out Mark's channel too, Mark Inspires. He's doing some good work over there right now, and just get over and give him, say, hey, what's up? He posts every night. That's his thing. He's there every night. He tries to stay positive with everything he does, and just get over and support. We got to support each other, right? So anyway, let's just jump into this, guys. We've had some significant stuff, right? And right now, you guys look at this. Let me, I need to change something here. I am going to drop this down. Crap. It's not capturing my cursor again. I don't even know why it's doing that, but it's really starting to tick me off. So I got the capture cursor button and everything clicked, but I don't know what's going on with that. So just kind of bear with me here, guys. The top graph here, solar X-ray flux, that's a current flare. there on the end. It's an R1 flare, which is very minimal. I don't think it's anything to be like worried about. So we'll go down here and we'll check this out. This is the D region absorption prediction model over here at NOAA. And when it flares, you'll see it almost like a bullseye here. This is the day side of the planet. Okay. So what it's showing you basically is X-ray smacking. That's what it's doing. And when you get massive amounts of this, this is what happens. This is what you see. It causes radio blackouts in the area here. Typically, you'll see it more on the pole, towards higher latitudes, towards the poles. That's just how it works, right? But with that being said, I don't think this is a big deal. Now, I haven't looked at any of the current extreme ultraviolet or standard ultraviolet imaging, right? This is what this is. This is GOES 18. You can look at all the GOES satellites. GOES 16, 18. They're using GOES 18 a lot because it's a newer one, and I think they got a little bit better upgraded equipment on it. But as you can see, you've got a little bit of a coronal hole here too. But we've had some massive, and I'm talking huge, filaments release off the sun. And release is probably the wrong word. I mean, these things are blasting off the sun. And I'll show them to you here in just a second. One of them was down in the bottom left corner. Oh, you're seeing my cursor. Heck yeah. Heck yeah, there it is. Sweet. Anyway, right here. Right? So, down here in the bottom, we've seen a big one. I'll show it to you here in just a second. And then one just popped off over here. And each one of these, and there's ones before these that are popping CMEs. This area of the sun right now is highly active. We have to pay attention to this one. This is a very, very large area. Look at all this. Look at this thing. Okay, look at all the individual spots. These little umbras. They call this a sunspot group or coronal prominence group with sunspots in it. There's a big sunspot back here. Okay. Now, I have to, kind of echo what Ben said over on A Suspicious Observer. He was, if you've never looked at space weather before, you would look at this and think that was a huge area, right? And it is a huge area. But this isn't like individual, really huge spots. You could probably fit one, maybe two Earths inside those spots. And when we're talking about size on the sun, it's really not all that big. We've seen them huge. So if you go back to last solar maximum and you were to look at one, you could see these things were like way bigger than what we're seeing. But I will say this grouping is large and it's complex and it's firing flares, which means you got different polarities real close to each other. Okay, so it's going to keep doing it. And, and it's turning to face us right now. I've been watching this thing the whole time. Right? And if I'd have been making videos last week or up till now, this is definitely something I would have been talking about. But as this thing rotates in, it's almost directly Earth facing now. So if this thing decides to blow a flare, a big one, it's probably going to have a CME involved with it. So probably an ICME, and there's a difference. A CME is a coronal mass ejection. The corona is the atmosphere of the sun, right? This part. As you can kind of see in the haze in the extreme ultraviolet here. I'm sorry, the standard ultraviolet. That's what they use here. Extreme ultraviolet's over on SDO. Anyway, as you can see this, when you get a coronal mass ejection, it's in the corona. And it doesn't leave the sun. It stays in the corona. It ejects off the surface and the corona kind of captures it. It's just something that doesn't make it out of the gravitational pull of the sun, and the magnetic influence of the sun kind of draws it back, right? Now, an ICME is something called an interplanetary coronal mass ejection. That means exactly what I just said. It's interplanetary. It leaves the sun. It goes out into space, into the planets, where the planets live, right? So when you hear somebody say CME, that's actually technically wrong, but most of us, including me, myself, are still going to use that CME as a generic term. I'm going to kind of keep trying to go back to ICME once in a while to explain, but most people know it as a coronal mass ejection. Most people will understand what that means. Do we need to be technical like that? In instances, yes, we do. Okay, so like I said a minute ago, what if this thing was the flare and it had a CME with it? That means it flared, and then the plasma leaving the sun didn't leave. It got recaptured, right? What if that happened? That's a difference, right? Now, if I'd have said, "Hey, we had a flare with an ICME," that means that ejection actually left the sun. So that is one instance in where you would want to, draw a line there and point it out to people. Hey, we did have a eruption with this, but it didn't leave the sun, or it left the sun. That's why I want to differentiate that. Give me 1 second here, guys. My mouth is like extremely dry. Sorry, I don't like to make you guys listen to that. Anyway, as you can see here, guys, and I'm going to show you SDO here in a minute, and I'm going to show you seeds. Seeds was down for like a week, but they were doing some stuff over there. All the data is still there. It's not like it's a big deal. Also, we did get a geomagnetic storm. Now, back here, we were expecting one here. We had a CME hit, but it didn't hit with the right polarity. Okay, you guys have heard me talk about the BZ 1,000 times, right? What that means is that's the polarity of the CME itself. The plasma itself has a polarity, negative or positive. Our magnetic field has a negative and a positive, right? So when we're in a negative orientation, when the CME itself is in has a negative polarity, it gets attracted to the positive part of our magnetic field. Okay? So it kind of basically draws it in. Now, if the CME itself was the opposite, like positive polarity, that means that it's going to kind of repel. Now, depending on how big and how powerful the blast is, it can overcome that. Okay? It can make it in anyway if it's big enough, if it's powerful enough. But, for the most part, if you got a positive polarity CME hitting, you're not going to get much of a geomagnetic storm unless it's actually a monster, okay? And we've seen it, right? But also, I would also point out, no radiation storm, okay? Oftentimes, like when we get the bigger flares, you're going to see the radiation storm follow like 20 minutes later. That's kind of what happens. When you see those radiation storms, it's just a flood of protons, right? And that's a good indication of, hey, we probably got a CME coming our way at that point. Unless, because these protons, they can, kind of get sucked around and actually kind of come from the side and get into our system. If you guys go look at the Enlil spiral that I show you guys constantly. Let me see if I got it up here. Do I have it or not? I don't have it up, but you know what? Let's get it up here. Might as well show it to you. Okay, this is the NASA CME forecasting model. When there's a CME at NASA, this is what they use, the Enlil spiral. So if we had a CME blow off this direction, it can get sucked back around. You see how all these interplanetary magnetic field lines? This is our connection to the sun. Everything is connected to the sun magnetically, including the satellites. If you were out there just hanging around, you would be connected too. Okay? Notice how it all kind of bends that direction. Why? Because everything's spinning this way, right? So when you get something blown off this way over here, even though the plasma might not be reaching Earth, you can get protons that kind of go out and suck back over this way. So sometimes, and let me just, state before you leave this model here, you can see this one here. This is the first filament, and I'll show it to you guys here in a second. But this is looks like it may give us a glancing blow. It's going to be close. It's not going to be it shouldn't be that big of a deal, okay? Unless we got other things happening, and we do now. So I'll show those to you in a minute too. But this one here doesn't look to be like any kind of big thing. We might get a small geomagnetic storm with it just because we have other geomagnetism hanging around, okay? So let me just get that off of there. Now, again, this is where the CME hit. This was a coronal hole. we had a smaller coronal hole that was there too. So you notice how we have kind of up and down here, kind of hanging out as far as geomagnetic activity. Well, let me tell you something about that, guys. Before this right here, you see how this is at a 1? We had 2 or 3 days where there was hardly any geomagnetism here. Now, I guess I could just show you, I had it pulled up. There it is. Okay. This is the German model, the European model here over here. Right here, GFZ. Go show them some love. Go check out their site, guys. This is kind of, I don't want to call it NOAA, European NOAA. It's not. But it is a very trusted agency, and they do a lot of good work here. They're using satellites, basically the same kind of data, but they enter it in different increments. See how this says HP 30? This is the same thing as our KP. This here. Okay? But this is 3-hour averages. So why I like this one is because it gives us a more real-time look at the KP. They call it the HP because it's every 30 minutes, right? So if we go back here, if you guys want to look at this, we will let's just zoom in here. Get you guys over here. Now, you see this? See all this activity? This was on the 22nd. That was today. Or is today the 22nd or 20? Yeah, today's 22nd. But if you go back here and look, you see how everything was kind of low. Back here on the 18th, look at this. 19th. We go back to the 17th, I think it's the same. I think it's kind of just not too much activity. When you start getting activity, geomagnetism that's that low, believe it or not, guys, it's not a good thing. Okay, we have to have a balance. That's what we're trying to find here, right? We got to stay in a balance with our magnetism. If we don't, if we get low, what happens is cosmic rays get in. That's not good either. That can make us, high levels of that kind of stuff can actually make us sick. But it would take massively amounts of that and long exposure for that to happen. But it can affect us. Like during solar minimum, you'll hear a lot of us talk about cosmic rays because there's a lot of cosmic rays making it in. And we'll talk about that at a later time. We don't really have to deal with that right now because we have enough geomagnetism to kind of deflect that. A lot of you guys might have heard me say this before. We need to protect ourselves. You know, the sun protects us from the sun. And it makes, when I say it like that, it kind of sounds weird, but that's just what it is. The sun gives us geomagnetism, and when we get bigger hits from the sun, it can actually help kind of block stuff. So, and then when we're talking cosmic rays, it most definitely does. So we need that. We need that balance. We can't have any of that go away. So, you hear people say, oh my God, look at that CME. We shouldn't, I don't want that. I don't want that. Yeah, well, I do. I want some of it. I'm not saying I want some big G5 or some freaking, X10 solar flare or something like that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we need some of it, right? First off, we get aurora from it, which is very cool. And I'm not going to talk about aurora a whole lot tonight, but guys, if you want to research something that can point you directly to our magnetic field weakening, just do a little research on all the crazy aurora stuff that's going on. I've talked about that at length before, and then there's more stuff happening every day when it comes to that kind of thing. And a lot of the aurora phenomenon that we're seeing isn't really aurora. We got our radiation belts that actually will leak sometimes, and it causes aurora, well, the appearance of aurora, because it's not really aurora. We have superheated atmosphere that can produce things in the sky that look like aurora. There's a whole lot of things that we could talk about there, and there's new phenomenon being talked about every day now. It's really crazy. So we're getting a better understanding of aurora because of all the new tools that we have. We didn't have this stuff years ago. But that is one thing that you guys can go outside and look up. Anybody that's in a position where you can see aurora and point to it and be like, hey, oh my gosh, I've never seen that before. Where'd that come from? And then it happens again next week. you got to understand that we're getting hit with stuff and things are getting in easier. It's not a secret. Our magnetic field is like 25% weaker right now, if not more, and it's continuing to weaken. There's lots of reasons for it, and I'm not going to get into that big discussion, but that is just simply the case, okay? But here is the magnetic polarity I was talking about. I'm sorry I kind of got off on the side there. This is the BZ. When we get hit with a CME, if the CME is in a positive polarity, that's the black line there, right? That's why they highlight when it's in the -6 and bigger, or actually lower, I guess you could say. When it's down -6, that means that it's really in a negative position enough that it actually will draw the activity into our system. And it does come in onto our poles first. That's usually where it happens. Now, when you start seeing like aurora down low latitudes, and that's one of the biggest things I can point you guys to if you want to know what's going on with our magnetic field. Because we should not, absolutely should not be seeing aurora in Florida during a G1 storm. That shouldn't happen. And that's stuff that we've seen. We've seen that now. It's opening cracks when it hits. And I'm using that word crack as very loosely there, okay? Because there's a whole different pathway thing that we could talk about. But using the word crack, everybody understands that. Everybody has one. Just kidding. Sorry. Anyway, some cracks are bigger than others, right? And slide a credit card in some of them. But anyway, I'm sorry. But yeah, so you got -6 here. It shows up in the blue or the purple, depending on what you're looking at here. And when it gets to -6, we really want to pay attention. Yeah, Kathy, I would agree. There's some of that. That's definitely something that's happening. It definitely is. I'm sorry, I just glanced down at the chat and just seen your comment there. Yeah, it's contributing to all that. And there's other stuff going on too. So, and that's what I would say, But yeah, so sorry if I offended anybody with that crack comment. I apologize. I'm just trying to have a little fun. We don't have enough of that going around right now. It's pretty sad sometimes, I guess. But anyway, so here's seeds. So what we're going to do, this is SOHO, and SOHO is a satellite that sits out in front of Earth, about 1 million miles closer to the sun than what we are. It's from our perspective. So if I click on this, you're going to see a little bit of a CME right there, right? This just happened a few hours ago. Okay? It's picking it up now. So I'm going to pause this. And we're going to back it up a little. And we're going to back. Look at all these eruptions, guys. See all these? It's a bunch. Okay? The sun has been going bam, 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 bam. It just really has. Now, a lot of it's not coming our direction, but some of it is. So I'm going to take you guys back here to the 16th. We're going to go day by day just to show you guys what's happening. Okay? Now, most people would see this image here, and their eye would be drawn, and rightfully so, be drawn to this. See that big one down there? That's not what actually hit us. That went south of Earth. So let me show you what hit us. I'm going to pause it. You see this shadow? See that halo little signature there? There was another eruption that kind of happened here. And it happened right on the back of this one. So this is what actually impacted Earth. So I wanted to point that out. That's something that we deal with during solar maximum because the activity is so high. It's huge. It's way up there, way north, right? I mean, it is definitely, we have a lot of activity going on. So this is the problem with trying to forecast things. Because when you see these things, the models themselves get fooled sometimes. So, that's why I choose to try to wait to give you guys a better accurate description of what's going on. I don't want to come out here unless it's a big one and it has a chance of really giving us some issues. I want to be patient and come to you guys and tell you guys, hey, please look at this one. Now, if it's newsworthy and it's not going to hit Earth anyway, I'm going to talk about it, obviously, right? But it doesn't mean I have to come out and just just from the jump, do something, right? Now, with that being said, there are things that we need to look at this week, okay? So let me start that back up, and we'll take a look at that for a second. That's the one that gave us the wasn't unexpected. The unexpected geomagnetic storm we got was from a coronal hole. That's what was surprising to everybody, okay? The coronal hole wasn't expected really to give us a geomagnetic storm unless this particular CME I'll show you right here, right there, okay, was hitting us. It hit us, it gave us enough geomagnetism and it hung around for a minute, and it was enough to go ahead and let that coronal hole stream. And the coronal hole stream itself was actually pretty fast, and it was kind of dense, which is something we haven't seen in a minute. So all that involved gave us a G1 storm that nobody was really looking for. NOAA didn't even forecast it. Nobody had really forecasted it. We were kind of on a geomagnetic storm watch, but they actually canceled it, and then it hit. It was kind of crazy like that, and that's going to happen. I'm going to come out here and tell you guys, hey, we might get a geomagnetic storm, or I think we're going to, and then it won't happen. I'm never going to give you a definite, hey, this is going to happen unless I think it's definitely going to happen. Like there's no chance that it won't. But this is the 17th, not much. And a lot of this activity slowed down because there wasn't a whole lot of sunspots facing Earth. Now there is. Okay? These bigger sunspots have now crested the limb. And what are you seeing here? Guys, look at this. On the 19th. Just bam, bam. And there's another one that pops off here. And some of these are on the backside. Some of them weren't. Look at these. These are big ones. Okay? These aren't little, I don't want to call them big. They're sizable. They're significant. Okay? If I want to call something big, I want it to mean something when I say that. So I'm not going to sit here and just blow it way out of proportion. Now I want you guys to notice, and I'm going to pause it when we get back around to that. Right about, okay, there. You see when this one blew off? You can kind of see a partial halo. Now see, if this had happened 12 hours later, 24 hours later, this would have been crested the limb of the sun, and it would have been facing Earth. This one did not. This one went off the side. So we dodged this one. So let's go to the 21st, and this is where you're going to see, and we dodged mainly a lot of that too. Okay, this is the one I believe that might be giving us the glancing blow. It's hard to kind of tell right now, so I'm not even going to say specifically, hey, this is that, and that. Just know that there's a lot of eruptions going on right now. Okay, and any of these, if they've got the right polarity, can knock us up into geomagnetic storms and even give us significant geomagnetic storming. Okay, now that typically won't happen unless it hits us directly. Not a glancing blow isn't really going to give us a G3 or G4 storm, right? But is what it is. Now, this is today, 22nd. Just ignore that. That happens all the time, guys. Sometimes the camera gets flooded with light, and that's what happens. It's just a camera artifact, and that's what you're seeing there. Somebody's going to make a big deal about that, and they shouldn't, because they just shouldn't. It's as simple. It's easy to show people what that is. You can reproduce that here at home if you had a coronagraph and you shine a light directly into it, and that's what you're going to get. Okay. It's a camera, guys. I mean, look at anything camera, and you're going to see all those things I just showed you right there are camera anomalies. They're not anything to worry about. Now, this here. See that? Now, I'm not sure if this one's going to get us. I don't think it's going to. Looks like this one kind of went south, but I will say this. Let me back this up. You could kind of see a faint halo. This is going to be interesting. See how it's kind of building a little bit of a shadow there? It's not very definitive, but it's definitely plausible. And even there, see this right here? See that line? That's definitely a partial halo right there. Now, that's going north, so I don't think that's going to hit us. But We're definitely going to just have to pay attention, guys, and see what's going on with this. So let's see if, I don't think they have anything from today yet. We're not going to see, there's that, there it is right there. Okay. This is that other one that just happened. So I can't tell you right now if this is going to hit. It could be going too far south. It could be going off the backside. I don't know yet. I have to wait to get data in. Okay. You see how big that is? Wow. That's actually, yeah, that's sizable, guys. That's not a little baby. Wow. Ooh, look at that. Interesting. I'm not trying to make a big deal about it because I don't know that it is yet. It could be going off the backside. I don't know. But there it is. You can see it just like I can. So let's go here. Let's just go here. How about that? Actually, let's go here. Okay, now listen. This is GOES. I don't show you guys this one a whole lot. I usually show you SDO. But check this out. Look at this huge filament. And we're seeing quite a few of these. Okay? This is the one that just happened. This is not that CME, but this is the one that popped off today. So if I was to grab this and watch, look at that. See how it spun? That was a huge one. That's a huge filament, guys. See, it even makes it out past the view of the camera. Look at that. That doesn't happen very often on these standard ultraviolet imaging, or even on the extreme ultraviolet, which is just filters, guys, is all that is. But see how that's spinning as it comes off? And hardly any of it went back to the sun. So the saving grace here is the fact that it's going south. Now, we could still get some of that, I guess, but I can't say for sure. Now, let's see here. How far back did that go? Okay. Now, I want to show you this. Okay? Watch up here. Watch what happens here. Y'all see that? Okay? Look at that. That's another huge eruption. Look at this. Now, granted, again, if that was facing Earth, or if it blew right at Earth, we'd be having a big discussion right now. Okay? That's a lot of dense plasma just getting, just completely ripped off the sun here. It's, yeah. It definitely is ripping off here. Oh man, it's a bit. I was surprised to see this one, to be honest with you. I seen this big one down here earlier, right? Everybody was reporting on this one this morning, and that's what that one is. Now, again, not many are going to be out here talking about this one yet. And it's not, the point ain't to get out here first. The point is just to give everybody the info. Okay? I'm not going to sit out here and just, check out the plasma rain. Here, let me zoom in a little bit more for you. I like to show you guys this stuff because this is stuff people will say. They'll say, hey, we had plasma rain, and then they won't explain what it is. It kills me when people do that. But anyway, let's just, I'm going to show it to you. Okay? Plasma rain basically is the magnetic connection lines on the sun. You got plasma that travels across them, right? So when that connection is going straight back to the surface, it looks like rain. So they call it plasma rain. So let me, you can see that. Here, I'll back it up and let it go forward. See how that's all happening? See how it all appears to come out of thin air? Like when I go forward here, it'll appear like it comes right out of thin air. See that? But that's not really what's going on. The plasma is already there. You just can't see it. And then here it comes. Sun grabs it again. Okay? Look at all that. See, it's like a freaking magic act, right? Look down here. Watch this. See that? I just think it's cool. Now here comes the eruption. And if you notice, it's actually going back to where that eruption happens. See that? This was a massive eruption, guys. That is a lot of plasma ejecting off the sun very, very fast. Okay? Now, I wouldn't doubt it if we don't catch a glancing blow from this one also, but this is not going to be on any of the models yet. So this is something that we're going to, I know tomorrow's Thanksgiving. I'm going to try to probably do a short one, just a little update for you guys because of this one right here. I just want to see where it's at, and I'll let you guys know if I may even just put a short out, guys. So keep an eye out for that if you would. But again, as we're looking at this, it's definitely something that, yeah, I mean, look at that. What do you guys? I'd be interested in what you guys think about that. Hey, Flamin'. Hey, that's an interesting thought there, Verte. I like it. I know you've done a lot of research on that, bud. I know you have. Hey, Miss V, good to see you. Good to see you. Love you, Flamin'. Always, brother. Always, always. Love everybody from the boat. Everybody. I love all you guys. You guys have supported me so much, guys. It's just, Laura, back at you. Laura, yeah, thank you. Well, okay, Joe Biden. I got you. I was talking about cracks earlier, so I guess we'll let that one go. It's good to see everybody. It really, truly is. This community has had a lot of ups and downs lately, and you know what? We've always been there for each other, and we still are. So, hey TLG, good to see you. Hey, what's happening? What's up, Rock? Okay, so let me get back to this real quick, and then we'll at the end here I'll talk to you guys for a few minutes. Really, there's not much more to show. I'll show you guys this. This is the magnetosphere. This is the movie tool that shows the stuff hitting, okay? And this is currently. I actually had some videos, like, almost edited and ready to put out, and I didn't put them out because I couldn't voice over them. And when I can't voice over them, I don't like to put them out, because I don't like to just put music there with words, text and stuff on the screen. You guys know that's not my style. I have to do that sometimes because I just don't have the time to do whatever. But as you can see here, so when I get something put together like that, I hate to just throw it in the trash, but oftentimes that's what happens, guys. I can't just, I want it to be something you guys want to hear, and I want it to be significant. I don't want it to just be something, just like I said earlier, make a video just to make a video. I'm not doing that. I'm just not going to. And that's one of the reasons why I don't hold myself to a specific time frame as far as posting at a specific time every day. Now, when you're doing like talk show style stuff, that probably really needs to be there. That, you need to have that being very, very consistent. Because you're just talking about things, you already know what you're talking about, right? Now, when I'm talking here with space weather, I'm basically what I've been calling nowcasting, which I got that from Ryan Hall. If you guys don't know who he is, man, I don't know where you've been. I'm watching no weather anywhere, that's for sure. He is the top dog weather guy on the internet now. Has been for some time. I've been with him since he had 20,000 subs. But he calls it nowcasting, and he gets live storm chasers, and he does the Radar Omega. That's a great app. If you guys don't have that, I highly suggest that. I don't have any sponsorships or any kind of anything like that. I just think it's a really cool app because you can actually see on the app itself where the storm chasers are. So they're GPSing back to Radar Omega, and Radar Omega is showing everybody where they're at. So when they issue a tornado warning and they're trying to chase a tornado, it shows you specifically where these people are at. I just think that is so stinking cool. But guys, please, Go check those guys out too. And anybody out there that is running a channel, you get somebody that helps you drag your channel up a little bit, not really drag, it's a bad word, I guess. Try to help your channel out, giving you shout outs and all that, but they're bigger than you, sometimes way bigger than you, right? Please don't forget to give that back to them. Okay? Because there are people that are watching that don't know who they are too. And we oftentimes forget that. I forget to shout out Marf all the time. Marf and Dex over at Marfoogle. I forget about that all the time. And I shouldn't. I feel bad every time I do it. But, those guys have, out of everybody that has helped my channel, yeah, they're the ones that helped me the most. I can tell you that. That's just what happened. It was easy to see. But anyway, they're good, great people and all that. But anyway, this is the velocity. This is the speed. And I'm sorry, guys. I kind of got off the side there a little bit. But again, this is density. The white is low density. And, we don't have a whole lot going on right now. Now, this is pressure. The other day, this thing was like stretched out pretty good. We were taking some pretty decent hits. But guess what, guys? Our magnetic field was doing what it was supposed to. It was deflecting it. It looked really, really bad on this model. But it was the magnetic, see that? See that hit right there? I'll show it to you again. Watch it deflect it. See it hit right there? And you see how it kind of got pushed to the side? See that? That's what happens. And how can I say that? Because this part of our magnetic field, the pressure part, did not change when it hit. If that had grown or changed in like the shape that it was in, it didn't. Watch. See? Not significantly anyway. That's what I mean. So our magnetic field actually did what it was supposed to right there. So please pay attention to that when you guys go over here to these tools. Okay? Just because it looks like it's really, really bad doesn't necessarily mean hardly any of it's getting in. And then in this case right now, it's not. Not a whole lot's getting in. Look at that. If the polarity was right at that time, yeah, I could, but it must have been a little bit to the positive. How can I say it was on the positive? All you got to do is go back here. Look, this is where we're at right now. See this? We're hanging out. We're almost right at 0. And what do we need for it to really come in? -6. So when you guys come over here to Discover, and please guys, go look at all these tools. It ain't going to hurt you to go look at everything. It won't. So, but, okay. So, there is one more site, one more thing here I do want to show you before I get off of here. This is Dr. Tony Phillips. Guys, please go check out his website over here. He's talking about an asteroid here. This is actually heading for Betelgeuse. It's going to cross in front of Betelgeuse. Okay? It's a cool thing to talk about. But check this out. Canyon of Fire eruption. See this? This was the one that happened down here on the south part of the sun that I showed you guys. Let's go back to here. And if you watch, let me click on this. Here where this thing erupted, the first one earlier today, let me back it up. It actually opens up a canyon, what we call a canyon of fire. Now, let me make sure you guys understand, we're not talking about fire. You need oxygen for fire, right? Last I heard, there's no oxygen in space. But anyway, you see right here, where this thing's erupting, this opens up. They're calling it's a canyon of fire opening up. See that? See how you got a canyon now here? That's what they're talking about. When you guys hear that, and oftentimes we'll get these big filaments rip off, and it'll actually cause a coronal hole. And, that's a secondary reaction, but that's what you see. All right? So, But yeah, so we'll take a look at this one here, up here at this big one again. I do think that this second one, this one here on the north part, is a little bit more intense than the one that fired in the south there. But you can tell, guys. Check it out. Watch. Here it comes. It's coming. Bam. See how it's getting fed? Did you guys notice that? See these magnetic connection lines? There's more than one going right to this spot. Watch where my cursor's at. And watch all this plasma just getting... I'm going backwards right there. So I'll go forward. Watch it all start going to that spot. See this? Wham, boom. See that? So that's what you're seeing there. You're seeing that is what happened. You know what? I guess I could... Let's do this real quick before I let you guys go. Let me... Here we go. I'm updating it. Okay, I haven't updated it for a few minutes. You see here, so we got some more imaging now. We got some more, some more images to look at. So let's look at them. Let's see what happens here. Okay, there's your plasma rain. It's getting ready to blow. There's the blowing. Oh, look at that. Check it out. See that? That's the start of another one. Look at that. Okay. Now, I can't say for sure that that's going to erupt out. But I'm telling you guys, in 24 hours, if that thing if this had happened 24 hours later, we're having a different discussion. Okay? Because that's a big one. I'm sorry. There's no other way to say that. This thing is big. That's a big one. And you know, I don't like to come out here and say that unless it's true. And that's exactly what that is. It's very easy to see. I'll probably start showing you guys this imaging a little bit more because it does. The GHOST satellite has really been picking up some really good imaging. So I'm still going to show you SDO all the time too. But yeah, look at that. Wow. So that's a 1-2 punch, Jonathan, for sure. For sure, man. Look at that. Isn't that impressive? Does that impress anybody but me? I mean, my gosh. That, you know, you can't stack 30 Earths right here. That's how tall it's reaching out. Guys, that's plasma. That's high dense, high speed plasma just ripping off the sun. Yeah, I mean, my gosh, look at that. You know, I don't know that I've seen a filament like this in quite some time, especially not two of them in one day. And it looks like we might have a third right on its heel. Now, I will say that is actually behind the limb, okay? That's behind the sun. It hasn't crested over to get in full view yet. So, you know, most likely that's not going to bother Earth, but it's still going to be a big eruption that looks like it's happening. And it could, you know, it could be another, like, small canyon of fire. See how the sunspot is right here? It could end up being that. We don't know for sure that this is, like, erupting out. It appeared to. But we'll keep an eye on it. It does look like this is connected to this as I'm looking at this, and it looks like this is lifting off. So we might have another sunspot behind this one that's actually got disrupted because of this first one. And it might have destabilized that other filaments, and now they're erupting off. We see this a lot, chain reaction stuff. Okay, it's kind of crazy. But anyway, okay. Hey John, good to see you, bud. Be seeing you in a minute. And, you know, guys, so that is what's happening right now. I hope that I can give you guys another video later today on Thanksgiving because it's actually almost midnight, I guess. But anyway, this is stereo A. It's from our viewpoint right now. Let me just go ahead and just, there's that bigger one there on the end. So anyway, that's what's happening with that. This is another view of it. I guess I could just push play here and let this thing run for a minute. See how much clearer that is too than some of the other imaging we get. I just think they've really improved it. I will say that. But again, this sunspot grouping is now facing Earth. This thing is pretty complex. See that one? Look at that. Wow, man. Anyway, so let's go over here, back here just real quick. This is NOAA's forecasting. I want to point this out because this is significant. They are saying there's a 55% chance of at least an R1 to R2 flare. Okay? Those are low-level flares, but they're significant. But they're now saying R3 or greater, the chance is 10%. That usually sits at 1% unless there's stuff going on, and that's why. We're seeing stuff go on. So just keep that in mind. Now, if you'd have looked at this, if I'd have showed you guys this image 5 days ago, it was almost blank. There was almost no sunspots on this thing at all. Look at this now. This is impressive. And also notice that they're migrating towards the equatorial regions. What's that mean? That means that we're getting closer to the termination event to where the poles flip on the sun. Okay, that's your sun cycle. When that happens, sunspots, coronal holes, those are all migrating towards equatorial regions. Why? Because north and south pole of the sun is racing towards each other. Magnetic poles is what I'm talking about. Okay? So as they're coming closer, it changes the positions of the sunspots and the coronal holes. And I talked about this briefly before. But when you start seeing coronal holes stretch from the north to the south across the equatorial regions, that's a very, very good sign we're heading for that flip. When you start seeing, where are these filaments erupting off from? The polar regions. I guess these are more mid-latitude, I guess. This one down here, I would kind of, I guess I could consider that pole region. But they're not towards the equatorial. So when you start seeing filaments and other eruptions happen, and especially like coronal holes and stuff, like right on the poles, those are other signs, guys, okay, that we have to look at. And I do think, and they're now forecasting us to be in solar maximum quicker than what they initially thought, almost a year earlier. So whether we stay in solar maximum longer or it just got here early, don't know yet. But again, we're going to nowcast. I'll give you guys as much advance warning as I can when things happen, but at the same time, I got to be real about things and give you guys the correct information. If I come out here and just jump right off the gun, a lot of times things I'm wrong when I do that. Now, if I do come out here that quick, like say I'm already doing a live stream and something happens while I'm live, I'll show it to you and then I'll give you my opinion. And I stress that it's just my opinion. Right? So, oh man. Okay. Hey Tab, good to see you guys. But yeah, guys, I am going to go ahead and kick off here. Yeah. So, let's go ahead. Man. I think it's that one. Okay. But, so let me go ahead and, we'll just flip that over right there. So, God bless. Yahusha saves. I'll give you an update whenever we need it, okay?